First Ontario's Chief Risk Officer, Mark Perkins, joins us for one last Finance Friday before your summer break. And we're going to talk about summer travel.
Yeah, I know Yvonne was in here earlier talking about budgeting and planning for travel, and I thought I would kind of dig it down another level and talk about actually transacting when you are traveling. And so if you're...
I'm interested.
Yes, indeed. and so, yeah, my last Finance Friday for the summer, your last one ever.
Yes.
So a joyous and somewhat sad occasion as well.
You.
So if you're traveling internationally, the first thing you want to look at is foreign currency, the cost of currency. So right now, you know, we always compare to the US dollar. And I actually saw the ticker tape while I was out in the hallway, and the dollar is down a little bit. So you're essentially paying a 40% premium. So it's about $1.40, a little bit more than that, in Canadian dollars for a US dollar. And we know the sticker price is somewhat similar across the border. So you have to be prepared for that. The Canadian dollar right now is relatively weak against the pound, against the euro, against the franc, so that European area. But the Canadian dollar is actually quite strong against the yen, Australia, New Zealand dollars, and Southeast Asia. And I was reading a travel blog a couple of weeks ago. It was quite interesting. Is you can take a family of 4 to Disney in Tokyo for the same price or less than taking them in Florida.
Really?
Now, it doesn't talk about the relative merits of taking kids on a 12-hour flight. However, from a pure cost perspective, you know, that's the value of the relative strength of the dollar when you start to plan these vacations.
Okay, and then once you're there, should you plan on using cash, the local currency, or debit or credit cards?
Yeah, so, and it's highly dependent. So what we know, I mean, and it still feels fresh, but the pandemic changed a lot of spending behavior.
Yes.
So when I think about Europe, especially London and the UK, they went primarily cashless. So there's a lot of places that won't even take cash. And then a country like Japan, which you think is very advanced technology-wise, there's still a fairly high demand cash economy over there. Yeah. So it's interesting. So just be prepared when you go and know what's going to be available. You know, anywhere you go where you're not going to be in a small local market or smaller towns, you want to have currency, cash on hand. Any major cities are probably okay to get by with credit and or tap, but they have their own variables that you want to think about as well.
And then when you're doing that, what about, like, because some of the options I remember being in Scotland, and they gave you the option of, do you want to pay in your Canadian currency at the tap or credit card terminal, or do you want to pay in local currency?
Yeah, so this is a new thing that's cropped up the last couple of years, which is really interesting. So I actually did some research on it after I found the same thing on a trip. When you have them convert it in the country into Canadian, you're actually paying a very, very high exchange rate. So the local bank that's doing that for you is getting a premium on it. It's kind of like doing it at a hotel or an airport, whereas if you take the local currency, then your bank back in Canada is the one doing the exchange.
Yeah, because otherwise you're getting a double whammy, right?
Yeah. But you do want to look at the fees as well. So whether it's your bank ATM card or your credit card, is often, there's definitely an exchange rate premium for using it, but often there's a fee as well. So you need to know, especially if you're going tap cashless for everything, you're doing 10 to 20 transactions a day, and those transactions are costing you the premium on the exchange, but also $2 to $3 every time you do it. It can add up, and the worst thing coming home from a vacation is feeling nickeled and dimed of the unnecessary items. But you know, it's just something you got to think about that can help you balance out the summer travel a little bit more.
I will be doing some of that, Mark, and I will take your advice. Now, Colin will be by next Friday for Finance Friday as well, so you can send any finance questions you have for Mark or Colin by emailing financeFriday@firstontario.com. And if your question or topic is covered on air in the fall, you'll get a gift card from First Ontario Credit Union.